Warning! This episode of Data and Dissonance contains strong language, blunt truth, and enough dark humor to get us kicked out of polite society. If you're sensitive to reality, this might not be the show for you. But if you're tired of politicians protecting themselves while victims get ignored, welcome home.
33,000 pages. That's how many Epstein Files are gathering dust while Congress pretends to debate transparency. Now, thanks to an unlikely tag team of Ro Khanna and Marjorie Taylor Greene, there's a discharge petition that could force a vote. Outside the Capitol, survivors demand justice. Inside, half the lawmakers look like they're one subpoena away from a heart attack. The question is simple. Will we see the truth? Or will the names of the powerful keep collecting dust like Epstein's cameras during his suicide watch? Let's meet the crew. First up, Brian, the man who treats transparency like oxygen and hypocrisy like barbecue sauce. He smokes it until it falls apart. He spent the weekend shouting, "Release the files," so loud the NSA probably added him to a group chat. America's resident profit over posturing guy. Next, Rachel, the independent who can spot political theater faster than Congress can schedule a press conference. She's here with balance, facts, and that trademark eyebrow raise that could get even Bill Clinton to sweat through his suit. Over on my left, Daniel, the conspiracy cartographer who has a special corkboard just for Epstein. He swears the camera failures, the flight logs, and the missing guards all connect. And honestly, I'm scared to ask what's in his evidence drawer this week. And rounding it out, Skylar, our progressive voice who thinks survivors deserve justice more than politicians deserve re-election. They bring policy, passion, and the kind of moral clarity that makes both Wall Street and Hollywood squirm. This episode is brought to you by the Caleb Rourke Thriller series. The Covenant Protocol and the Prophet Directive are out now, and Black Echo Rising is coming this December. If you like conspiracies, power struggles, and a hero who doesn't mysteriously hang himself in federal custody, grab your copy on Amazon today. And don't forget, fuel your late-night conspiracy reading with Data and Dissonance coffee. 3 blends: High Lakes Light Roast, Rock Creek Medium Roast, and Bitter Root Dark French Roast. Each roasted in the USA, each stronger than whatever Epstein's lawyers were drinking the night the cameras went dark. Grab yours at dataanddissonance.printify.me. Brian, Republicans are rallying behind this push, but is it justice they're after or just a political opportunity to hammer Democrats?
This is absolutely about justice, Artie. Let's not kid ourselves. For years, MAGA has been demanding that these files see the light of day because we know exactly what's hiding in them. The establishment wants us to think this is just about Democrats, but it's bigger than that. The Clintons were neck-deep in this mess, sure, but so were other powerful figures who thought their private jets and private islands kept them untouchable. What this bipartisan push proves is that even some Democrats realize the dam is about to burst, and the American people deserve to see who's been pulling the strings. Justice isn't partisan. It's about truth, and MAGA has been fighting for that since day one.
Some critics argue that Trump's name has been floated around Epstein's circle before. Does pushing this release risk backfiring on MAGA?
Not at all, because Trump distanced himself from Epstein long before it was cool. People forget, Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago. Meanwhile, Bill Clinton racked up more flight miles on the Lolita Express than most folks do with Delta Sky Miles. The left wants to act like this will boomerang on Trump, but here's the truth. He's the only one who didn't play their game. That's why they hate him so much. Trump doesn't need to fear sunlight because he wasn't one of the cockroaches hiding from it.
If these files really are released unredacted, what do you expect will happen next? Resignations, arrests, or just more political spin?
If they actually release them, and that's a big if, you'll see panic in real time. Resignations, sudden retirements, medical leaves, you name it. These elites don't want accountability, but when the public sees the names, they'll have no choice but to act. The problem is, I don't trust the system to actually prosecute. What I do trust is the American people's fury once they realize just how many of their so-called leaders were tied to Epstein. That outrage is a political weapon, and it'll fuel MAGA victories in 2026 and beyond.
Rachel, you've said before Congress loves theater. Is this bipartisan petition real accountability or just another season of political posturing?
It's hard not to see this as theater. Congress thrives on big gestures that grab headlines without delivering results. The survivors are outside begging for justice while inside, politicians are counting how many retweets they'll get from signing a petition. Don't get me wrong, I want this to be real. But history tells us Congress loves to act tough in front of cameras and then let everything fade when the cameras are gone. Accountability shouldn't be entertainment, but that's exactly how they're treating it.
How do independents and moderates view this? Is there any trust left that the truth will actually be shown without heavy blackouts?
Most independents I talk to don't trust this process at all. They expect black bars covering names, excuses about ongoing investigations, and endless delays. And they're not wrong to be skeptical. We've been burned too many times. Look at how classified information always magically gets redacted to protect the powerful. The public deserves transparency, but if Congress has its way, we'll get a PDF so censored it looks like a crossword puzzle.
What happens if names on both sides show up? Does this shake public faith even further? Or do people just shrug and move on?
That's the danger. If names on both sides appear, it confirms what many Americans already believe. The whole system is corrupt. Some people will shrug because outrage fatigue is real, but others will lose whatever sliver of faith they had left in institutions. And that's dangerous. A democracy without trust in its leaders is on shaky ground. The survivors need justice, but the country needs accountability to restore even a shred of credibility. Without it, cynicism just hardens into apathy.
Daniel, you've hinted this is bigger than Epstein. If this is just the sanitized version, what's being hidden?
Artie, what's being hidden is the real machinery of control. Epstein was an asset, and not just in the financial sense. He was plugged into intelligence networks, collecting compromat on elites to keep them in line. The sanitized version might give us a few names, but the real files, the ones we'll never see, connect Epstein to foreign intelligence, Wall Street, and global institutions. That's the part they'll never allow the public to touch because it proves that governments aren't run by elected officials, but by people who hold the blackmail keys.
How do you explain the bipartisan push? Are some insiders trying to burn the system down, or is this just managed damage control?
It's damage control, plain and simple. Think of it as a pressure valve. They release just enough information to make it look like they're being transparent while protecting the real players. It's like tossing a few small fish to the public so we stop demanding to see the sharks. The bipartisan angle isn't about courage, it's about survival. Both sides know they're implicated, so both sides are negotiating how much truth the American people can handle without burning the system down.
You always say to watch who panics. Who should we be watching in the next few weeks?
Watch the sudden vacations. Watch the CEOs stepping down to spend more time with family. Watch the politicians who suddenly have health scares or decide not to run again. That's the smoke before the fire. The names we won't see in the files, those are the ones who will quietly reposition themselves, hoping the public never connects the dots. But for those of us paying attention, their panic will tell us more than the redacted PDFs ever could.
Skylar, you've called this systemic rot. Does a bipartisan petition really give you hope for justice?
Hope, yes. Faith, no. Anytime you see Congress cross the aisle, you have to ask, what's in it for them? Survivors deserve every ounce of justice possible, but I worry this turns into another political tug of war where each side uses the files as a cudgel without, actually protecting the vulnerable. If this is real, it could be historic, all right? But if it's another performance, it just re-traumatizes survivors while reinforcing cynicism in younger generations who already think the system is rigged.
If Democrats are implicated too, do you think progressives can handle that reckoning? Or will they circle the wagons like Republicans do?
That's a fair shot, and honestly, progressives need to confront it. If names come out, we can't hide behind party loyalty. Progressivism is about accountability, period. But let's not pretend corporate Democrats won't try to circle the wagons. They will. And if they do, it proves the rot isn't partisan. It's systemic. Progressives have to be the ones who say, no, accountability doesn't stop at party lines. Otherwise, we're no better than the people we criticize.
How do younger voters see this? Do they view Epstein as proof the whole system is corrupt, or just another headline in the chaos?
Younger voters are furious, but they're also exhausted. They've grown up in an endless cycle of scandals without accountability. Epstein is proof that the system protects predators if they're powerful enough. For some, that fuels activism. They want systemic reform. They want accountability. For others, it just hardens the belief that nothing changes, no matter who's in charge. That's the real danger: disillusionment. If younger voters check out completely, the system wins by default.
The Epstein Files are the hammer America needs to shatter the glass house of elitism. MAGA has been calling this out for years, and now we have the chance to prove that sunlight really is the best disinfectant. The establishment will try to spin, redact, and protect their own, but the truth has a way of breaking through. My hope is that this finally exposes the swamp for what it is and gives us momentum to take our country back.
The survivors deserve more than political theater. If these files are released, they should be about accountability, not headlines. The risk here is that Congress will give us a performance instead of justice. And if both sides are implicated, that doesn't mean we look away. It means we double down on demanding answers. Cynicism is dangerous, but apathy is fatal. The victims deserve better than apathy.
This is only the tip of the iceberg. Epstein wasn't an isolated predator. He was part of a machine. The real files will never see daylight, but the panic we witness in the coming weeks will tell us plenty. Watch the patterns, watch the retreats, watch the cover-ups. If we connect the dots, the truth is right there. But don't expect the system to hand it to you. They'll fight to protect themselves until the very end.
This is systemic rot, not a partisan scandal. The powerful have been exploiting the vulnerable while hiding behind wealth and politics. If these files are released in full, it could be a turning point. But if Congress fails, and history says they will, then we need to build new systems of accountability from the ground up, because justice should never depend on who it embarrasses. It should be universal, and it should be relentless.
And there it is. 33,000 pages that could either rip the veil off elite corruption or gather dust while survivors wait another decade for justice. Brian sees a hammer to crush the elites. Rachel warns us not to confuse theater with justice. Daniel insists the real files will never see daylight but urges us to watch the panic. And Skylar reminds us that the system itself is the problem. For me, this is America's line in the sand. Do we accept redactions, excuses, and spin? Or do we demand the full, ugly truth? My bet is they'll try to bury it. But if enough of us refuse to look away, maybe, just maybe, the truth will claw its way out. And until it does, we'll be here. Remember to speak truth, stir thought.